Good morning, folks. Welcome to Ontario on an absolutely glorious morning. Today is the first day of March. It's about -6 out. There's a blue sky coming in from the west, a hint of a breeze, and it's just absolutely glorious. I can hear red-winged blackbirds, crows and blue jays, robins, and Mr. Raven's already made a pass over this morning and said hello. Well, today, folks, is a glorious day. I've got some time and I'm going to saw a little lumber, but the first thing I'm going to do is make some adjustments to the blade guides. Did some maintenance to the mill about a year ago now, actually. And when I did so, I repositioned the guides and I'm not 100% happy where they're at. So I'm going to go through what I did to the guides, how to reposition them, and how much down pressure they should have. And I'm starting my day out here with a fresh coffee, a home-baked cookie. It just doesn't get much better than this, folks. I should mention that yesterday I tried to film a little bit when I was sawing some cedar, but it was so incredibly windy, and the weather had changed. The day before yesterday it was +13, +14. Overnight it dropped to -16 here, and a bitter northwest wind. It was so cold. Hello, folks, and welcome to Ontario on a blustery, frigid, chilly, but refreshing late February afternoon. When I tried to film yesterday, the first thing to blow over was my phone on a tripod, and then the camera, and I thought, I was lucky it didn't break anything. I think that's enough. And now today we're blessed with this. It just doesn't get much better than this, folks. This past spring I did some modifications to the mill. One of them was I drilled the shaft that the blade guide bearings are on, and I changed them into a sealed and lubricated bearing, or from a sealed and lubricated bearing into something that I can actually grease now. And I really like that because that's a pretty hostile environment for those little tiny bearings that are inside these blade guides. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to loosen the blade guide position. I'm going to lift them up, take all the pressure off them. I'm going to measure the blade, make sure I'm still parallel to the bed. And once I'm happy with that, then I'm going to put the blade guides and I'm going to press them down about 3/16 of an inch is my goal. Years ago when I was building this mill, I contacted Wood Miser because I kind of see them as being the world's leader in small bandsaw technology. And I believe they told me I needed from 1/8 to 1/4 of an inch down pressure. And they also told me that really the whole purpose of the blade guides is to take the backward thrust when we're pushing into a log. And it does, of course, keep the blade somewhat level, but our blade should always be level with the bed of the mill anyways, without any attention from the guides. Okay. Let's loosen these, put them into position, and then we'll go from there. There we go. The guides are up off the blades, nice and loose. I'm going to measure the distance between the blade and the bed and make sure I'm still parallel. And then we're going to readjust those guides to put 3/16 of an inch down pressure on the blade. Six-inch to a down tooth. Six inches. Perfect. So we'll just drop it down 3/16 of an inch. I hope you can hear that. There's a pair of robins over there and a red-winged blackbird in the top of the apple tree. Isn't that beautiful? I'm being serenaded. Okay, I've got a reference mark here. I'm going to lower that guide 3/16 of an inch and then we'll do the same on the other side. Now we'll rinse and repeat on the other side. We're perfect. So now I've got the down pressure in the right place. Because I lowered the blade guides, I've actually lowered the position of the blade closer to the bed. So that means my scale on my last cut is going to be off a little over 1/16 of an inch. So I'm going to raise the saw head to compensate for that extra down pressure that we placed on the blade. Okay, one final measurement. Just over 6 inches. Oh, just over 6 inches. Love it. Now there is one other adjustment on the positioning of the blade guides, and that's how much clearance there is between the rear flange and the back of the blade. Ideally, we need about a 1/16 to an 1/8 of an inch in there. I'll show you what we've got. Now that we've got the blades locked in the right position, all that's left is to top up the fluids. I'm going to give each of these blade guides a squirt of grease, and let's do a little sawing. Well, I just heard that sound that we don't like to hear. I really wasn't paying close enough attention, and one of the dog handles came up, hit the blade. And you know what's funny? Those blades will cut frozen wood, cut hard knots, but they don't like to cut steel too well. Although it did cut a good ways through it. I'll zip this blade off and pop another one on. Hopefully I can save this one, but I'm not so sure. Let's fold it up. And I'll go get a new one. There we go. New blades on. Let's start old Betsy up and start sawing again. Well folks, it's time for me to call it a day. I've had a wonderful time out here. We sawed a little lumber. We even had some friends drop by this afternoon that we haven't seen in a long time. It was so good to have a coffee and have a visit with them. And I've got a beautiful 14-foot 6-piece on the mill that it's gonna greet me tomorrow morning when I come outside. And as I say all this, there's some coyotes way off to the northeast singing a song, and some red-winged blackbirds serenading as well. Well, I'm going to head in and light the pizza oven. It's Friday night and it's homemade pizza night here in our family. Hope you've enjoyed this video. Thanks so much for tagging along with us, folks. We look forward to seeing you again on Out of the House with Paul.